So I made this board, and you can see this is the RTAC 2 that I made to use the side, just kind of having some fun, giving it a little character. I did have to draw it a bit short, but I made this little board, and the reason I made it is because I wanted to screw down the Sharpmaker. So I've just got one there and one back there. That's all you really need. But the reason I do this is for sharpening. I can get a good two-hand purchase on the knife, even if it's just a small knife. This is just something I found I like, and get great control when sharpening. SOG Mini Aegis, and the reason that I picked this one is because of the tip. It has a very, very nice, fine, delicate tip, and that's what you have to be careful of when using this, because on any knife, if you run the blade off like this, all the way off, you're going to round that tip off. So this is what I'm going to do. This is one of those improvements. It's very, very simple. All I'm going to do, keeping that blade straight up and down, I'm going to go all the way down, but I'm just going to stop shy before that blade comes off. Let me resituate this. As I do this, I'm just going to go straight down with the blade, and see, I'll just leave that little bit on the edge, and I'll do that on both. This end right here is the most dull on this part of the knife. A lot of times for me it's going to be this end if I've been doing any carving or anything like that. So right now this is really dull down here compared to this end of it. So I'm going to work a little bit more down here, and again, this is where I find having the two hands comes in handy, because you can really gain some control. See where I'm putting my finger kind of close to the end here. And a lot of this is just playing around with it like anything. It's just using something and becoming good at it and learning what or how it works best for you. Done with the angle part of the sharpening, so now I'm going to move to this flat side. And this, you're going to need a little bit different camera angle, because I really want you to see what I'm talking about here. What I want you to watch here is the amount of blade that's on this surface area of the rod. Now, I'm looking in the viewfinder of the camera, and it doesn't look like my blade is straight up and down, but it is. So you can see right here, the front part right here, you can see the space that's not contacting. So all I got to do is just turn it a little bit, and then we have better contact. But watch this. As I go down and sharpen that, watch as the tip, see it's starting right there already. See how much isn't in contact with that surface area of the rod. Again, the blade is straight up and down, it just doesn't look like it. And I can continue all the way down, and there's a lot of my tip that's not even getting sharpened, especially if we're stopping and not running it off the edge to avoid rounding our tip. So make sure you're turned a little bit to begin with to maximize that surface area. But now watch as we get towards the end, right? So you can see it starting right there, that gap. And that'll happen on both sides. So what I found, I'm going to exaggerate this a little bit. As I'm running it down to sharpen, if I keep the blade straight up and down but just pivot this back end like this, again I'm exaggerating, it maximizes the contact to the rod. So as I go down, keeping the blade straight up and down, I'll rotate it just a little bit, and then what I'll do is I'll leave that tip on the end and just drag it all the way down, and then I get some extra work on that tip. But I do this on all my knives anyway, because I want to maximize that stroke. And remember, the first time we were doing this, we weren't taking the tip off all the way to avoid that rounding of the tip. As you can see, I've switched over to the fine stones. when I sharpen on the edge, I don't necessarily do the pivot thing like this as I'm coming down, because on the side you just don't need to. It's when you're using the flat area is when I do that. Again, as I'm doing this, I'm noticing it right now. Get it so you can see the blade. So if it's facing this way and I'm feeling the edge of the blade down on this side, it doesn't feel as sharp as if I'm feeling it down on this side. There's a big difference. So again, it's the opposite, so I know that I need to give it a little more work on coming down on this side means opposite. So this, I need more work here. Moving on to the flat side of the fine stones. Again, this is where I'm going to take that and rotate the blade a little bit. And if you're looking for where I am and you're looking down like this, you can kind of see how much of your blade is touching and how far you need to kick it over this way or that. But you'll notice as I get down towards the tip of the blade is where I'll kick it out a little bit more. And again, I'm letting that tip run on there to give it the attention that it needs.